faith. Have faith. Believe in your source. Have faith.
Welcome to Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs, the podcast that dives deep into the stories of trailblazers who shape our world. Our co-host, Lulu Benavidez, is a seasoned entrepreneur in the beauty industry, is a photographer, artist, and the proud owner of Lulu's The Salon in Galveston, Texas. Our other co-host, Krokonis Hanson, is a visionary in the entrepreneurial world with years of experience in business innovation and development. Together, they bring you insights, inspiration, and the journeys of remarkable individuals who have made their mark. And with that, let's get started. Communication, sell closing, business and brand building expert, international speaking professional, master stylist, master barber, master educator, salon owner, platform artist, and respected industry consultant and advisor, Glenn Michael Millett has presented to and worked with thousands of global businesses professionals from entrepreneurial startups to industry giants on how to communicate, connect, and close like a pro, create go-to expert niche market brand dominance, consistently deliver unforgettable customer experiences that easily outposition the competition, build high-value client relationships for life, dramatically increase your sales and revenue, and enjoy more life on their terms. Following a successful career in the music and entertainment industries, Glenn then turned his sights to the high-tech, high-touch beauty and fashion industries, where his salons enjoyed multi-million-dollar salon success, and Glenn became a sought-after international platform artist and speaker. Glenn credits his ongoing business success to always maintaining a giver's mindset by putting the success of others first, creating crystal clear niche market branding, crafting distinctive messaging that resonates in the mind of one's target market client, developing intention listening skills, possessing a solution-based selling philosophy, and most importantly, learning early on that the ability to communicate, connect, and close conversations and consultations effectively is the most influential, persuasive, and powerful skill in a person's business, sales, financial, and personal life. With over 6 decades of streetwise, in-the-trenches experience, classroom research, and an attitude for lifelong learning, Glenn now concentrates his energies on coaching and mentoring new and experienced industry professionals on how to create a brand in demand, communicate and connect with confidence, clarity, and conviction in any situation, quickly gain more raving fans for their businesses, increase sales and income with the listen to learn and learn to earn intentional listening method, all while transforming every consultation into a value-rich, results-driven, highly profitable opportunity. Glenn is a member of the National Speakers Association, Intercoiffure America and Canada, and will be releasing his new book, Pretty Rich, in 2025. Please welcome to the show, Glenn Michael Millett.
Welcome, Glenn Millett, to this podcast. Oh my God, we're so excited to have you on board with this episode. So can you please tell us, take us back to the beginning where you got your talent?
Oh my God.
Or where you got your start?
Yeah, where I got the start. So first of all, it's a pleasure to be with the two of you. We've obviously known each other. All of us have known each other for some time. So it's great. Yeah, how I got my start. So it's going to be a fun story. So I have a brother. My brother's 3 years older than me, because this is really where I got started. And my brother growing up, he was the cool guy. You know, he was like James Bond. He had the cool car, the good-looking girlfriend. You know, he was always well-groomed, had great clothes on. And I was the 3-year younger, goofy little brother. Now, traditionally, I would go to the barber shop. I'd ride my little bicycle, and I go in. You didn't book an appointment. You just walked in. If there were 3 guys in front of you, well, you're number 4. And no matter what haircut you asked for, everybody got the same haircut. And they had maybe Superman and Donald Duck comic books. And so that was my experience for all of the 25 cents that I spent. So when I was getting ready to go to high school, I would be the freshman. My brother was now a senior. And my brother came in my room one day and he said to me, if you're going to go to school with me, you are not going to go to school with me with that goofy looking haircut you always get. Okay, what do I know? So he took me where he got his haircut. And the place was called Pat's Barber Styling Salon. And this is 1963. Now, first of all, when I walked in, there were no old people. It was all young people. There was the music that I like, right? Instead of Superman, this was good for me, they had Playboy. 1963. Wow, I'm already hooked, right? And the other part of it was only I or my mother had ever shampooed my hair. And they had this drop-dead gorgeous brunette who shampooed my hair. I was in love. But here's the key. These guys were doing razor cuts and blow dries. They could do a razor cut and a blow dry in approximately 20 minutes. And they were charging $10 for that haircut. Now, in 1963, doing 3 of these in an hour, $30 an hour was a lot of money. And that stuck in my head. Now, here's the important part. I thought my brother was cool, but the minute I walked out of that hair salon, I was the coolest guy on the rock. I had the feeling. And it wasn't the haircut. And I'm going to stress this because it's part of what I coach. It was how I felt about the haircut. It was how I felt about the experience. And to tell you the truth, that's how I got started in hair, because my career earlier was in the music industry. And of course, hey, you got to have good looking head of hair when you're on stage. And then when I decided to transition out of music industry, I said, you know, I think I'm going to go to beauty school. Now, my dad said to me, boy, is there something I should know? You're going to go to beauty school? You got a problem here? I said, no, I don't have any problems, Dad. First of all, I got girls in beauty school. It's even better. But I think I can make some money. That is basically how I got started.
Mm-hmm. Well, Glenn, you and Lulu and I have been friends since eons ago, way back in the beauty industry. And you have a long line of success in the professional beauty industry, you know, as a stylist, as a salon owner, as an educator and trainer. And it's probably one of the areas that I would say you have maybe the most expertise. So I guess my question to you is, what skills do you think made you and your salon so successful?
I think there's several things. The first thing is God likes me. I'm blessed. And the second thing is he puts me in the right place at the right time. And he sends me in to learn, to watch, to observe. The other thing is he gets me to associate with like-minded individuals. You know, back in the days when we all first met and we were working with different product manufacturers, we were all so focused on where we want to go and what we want to do that was a significant part of it. The other thing that I strongly feel made us successful was, as I said earlier, relentless networking. There's no such thing as not marketing. Marketing is an ongoing process. And a lot of salons, they hit a level of success and they stop marketing. I had one of my clients one day, we had worked with them for about a year, and he said, man, we're just doing so well. He said, you did a great job working with us. He said, we're going to start cutting back a little bit on the marketing. And I went, whoa, what do you mean? He said, well, we're doing good. We don't really need it. So I asked him, I said, have you ever heard of a company called Coca-Cola? McDonald's? I said, yeah, they're doing great. But the minute they stop marketing, Pepsi-Cola and Burger King will eat their lunch. So you have to continue to market. You have to continue to network. You have to realize, and this is really important, and it's an old saying, if it is to be, it's up to me. Now, yes, you want to associate with other people, but you have to keep in mind, every one of us has our own life agenda. So that when you can associate with people who are like-minded, it's great. Simply put, if you hang out with 5 millionaires, you'll probably be number 6. Of course, if you hang out with the people who are sitting in a bar drinking beer and telling dirty jokes, you'll probably be number 6. So that's a key. And I can tell you that a very pivotal point for me was I had been doing hair about 3 years. And again, the two of you know me very well. I'm very type A. Yeah, I'm anal. I'm okay with it, though. This is who I am. All right. This is how I was created. And so just the first 3 years I was in business, it was work. You know, I'm going to be the best haircut. I'm going to be the hair's best colors. I'm going to be the best. And my numbers moved up at 3 years. And then at 3 years, those numbers started to level off. And so, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to level off here, right? You know, if you're in the hospital and it's doing this, that's fine. But if it's doing this, you're code red. We can't do that. We got to grow businesses. So this is part of my story. I looked externally. What's going on? What's wrong? And I realized that the economy was good. My location was killer. And my pricing was in line with the market. And I realized immediately my challenge was not external. It was internal.
Mm-hmm.
So I broke out a very old piece of equipment. Of course, you two are too young. You never heard of it. It's called the cassette tape recorder.
Yeah.
Right. But here's the key. If it were today, it would be this.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was, for one solid month, I audio recorded every consultation that I did. But this is the important part. I went home and listened as if I were the client sitting in the chair, not the stylist behind the chair. Now, we're all trained to read and write and speak, but we're not necessarily trained to listen
Mm-hmm.
or communicate. So when I heard myself, I heard vague verbiage. I heard some negative reinforcing verbiage, and I knew that the challenge was my communication skills. So I immediately started studying. I worked with some of the masters in the industry, and then my numbers started moving right back up. And if you're a person in the beauty industry, well, hair cutting is a system, hair color is a system, hair restoration is a system. Guess what? So is communication skills. And when my numbers moved up, I trained everyone on the team. And then their numbers moved up. And in a short period of time, we were blessed to become a multi-million-dollar operation.
Wow.
And I coach this all the time. Yes, I want to be the best haircut, the best colors. I mean, I know the two of you, you're the same way. I want to be the best. But here's the reality. Who's the best hair cutter? I don't know. Who's the best colorist? I don't know. So understand this. Before the client even shows up at the salon, the client has an expectation of performance. So here's the reality. Why would I go get a haircut from someone who I didn't think could give me a good haircut? Why would we go out tonight to have steak at a restaurant we thought had lousy steak? So the client has an expectation of performance before they walk in the door. So it's not really who does the best haircut. It's who communicates best with the client. It always comes down to that.
And that's so true what you're saying. Our industry has changed so much right after COVID. And I know you've already touched this, but can you tell our audience, if you were still a salon owner, what skills and services would you be focusing on today?
I can think of three. And without being redundant, the very first one, the very first skill, it's not a hairdressing skill. It's communication skills. Yeah. Communication is everything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If I could improve every person on the planet, their communication skills by 20%, I could change the world. That's how simple it is. So the first thing I would tell anyone is, yeah, you got to do a great haircut. You got to do great color. You got to put on a great hair system. But the reality is, if you cannot, and this is crucial, communicate, connect, and close. Communicate. Where are we alike? Where can we connect? And how do I close that conversation that the listener says, oh my God, I want to buy that. So communication is number one. If I were going to do a service, without a freaking doubt, I would get in the world of hair restoration right freaking now. Yeah, I'm telling you. No, seriously. Here's the thing. Growing up as a kid, and again, we all got formed between birth and age 7 in our subconscious brains. And, when someone would say, for a man, they'd say, oh, he's wearing a toupee. It's like, yep, you can pretty much tell that's a toupee. Why? Because it looks like a freaking saucer sitting on his head. Right? And even if it was good hair, which they probably bought at Sears Roebuck, nobody knew how to cut it and blend it in and all the other things that go with it, right?
Correct.
And then the other part of this, and Sue knows this better than anybody, if I were going to get into the hair restoration business today, I would start with women. I wouldn't start with men and women. Now, I'm going to tell you this for two reasons. Number one, because women will never leave the house without hair on their head. Here's the point. I could shave my head. I'm going out tonight. Somebody's going, look at that old guy. He looks pretty cool, man. Maybe even more virile. But if you leave the house, somebody says, are you sick? And so what we have to understand is the psychology of where the market is. And niche market dominance. So I would definitely get into women's hair restoration because, again, they're never going to leave the house without hair. It's an integral part of their self-esteem, their self-image, who they are. And I can tell you, I've seen it. It's the difference between a woman who's self-confident versus a woman who's self-conscious. Now, look, girls, I can buy the two of you the most gorgeous dresses in town, but if you don't like your hair, we staying home.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Hair restoration. And then this is the third part, because I said 3. Communicate first. Got to get those skills down because I don't care how good the hair is. If you can't connect with the client, then you got to do great hair restoration. But this is the third one. You have to learn how to create a totally outrageous customer experience. Because when you want to know who's the best, has nothing to do with who does the best haircut. It's who creates the most intense customer experience. And so when I'm coaching clients, I always ask them this question. What is the number one consumer rated experience in the United States? And their face goes blank. Like, simple. Disney. Disney is the number one consumer rated experience in the United States. Well, the question is why? Because Disney has diagnosed every touch point along the way. So in our salon, when we talked about being successful, and I learned this a long time ago, I said, if Disney was going to have a hair salon, what would they do? So one of the first things I can tell you, I have my salon, when you pulled in the parking lot, we had music in the parking lot. When you pull on Disney, when you wish upon a star, or zippity-doo-dah, whatever it might be, right? So what I'm telling you is that they're setting the mindset. And then when you walk in to the salon and somebody's behind the front desk, you don't stay behind the desk. You get out from behind the front desk. You go greet the client. You shake their hand. And my opening statement to a new client, and we'll just call her Miss Mary. I used to always say, Miss Mary, I want to welcome you to Glenn Michael Salon. Today is going to be the most incredible experience you've ever had getting your hair done. All right, what does she expect? The most incredible experience. And why would she expect that? Because I said so. Now, I also learned that the key word is experience. And when we're totally finished for services that day, I never once said, hey, how do you like your hair? I always said, so how was the experience? And she said, oh my God, the experience was fantastic. That 5-minute head, neck, and shoulder massage, oh, it was great. And I was already prepped. I said, I bet you have at least 3 friends that would like to share that same experience. I'm going to give you 3 cards with a discount, blah, blah, blah. What I never asked was, could you send me your friends? Could you give me a referral? No, I said, share the experience. And that's the key in verbiage, right? Understand? So those are the 3: communication, hair restoration, customer experience.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of blends in with the question that I had for you, Glenn. Now, I will say, total disclosure, which has not been said yet, Glenn is from New Orleans. His wife probably makes some of the best red beans and rice you can get anywhere.
That's dinner tonight. Telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I looked on the countertop this morning. She had the beans out and everything. It's like, oh, it's going to be a good night. Good
night.
Yes, it is.
And I only say that, Glenn, because people in the industry know this, but for years, New Orleans was known as a hair town. There were a lot of top hairdressers in that market. So to come in and dominate is really saying a lot, because the competition in New Orleans was stiff. There was a high bar to reach.
Oh, yeah. You when you decided to get into that game, if you were in New Orleans, man, you really had to put the pedal to the metal. You not only had to do great hair, you had to learn how to do great business.
Right.
And it still all comes down to you had to be a powerful communicator.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 guys that we all know, Frank Corey, Ken Smith, and Nicky Youth. I mean, 3 different styles of guys. Totally 3 different styles. Right? Yet, when I know Nicky quite well, when I look at the clientele Nicky had, they were Nicky. When I look at the clientele Kenneth had, they were Kenneth. When I look at the clientele Frank used to have, they were Frank. So it goes back. They connected with people who they could relate to. And there were some killer hairdressers, and I could probably name 12 other people in New Orleans that were just as good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Glenn, one of the things that I think our audience would be interested, it appears to me in what you do and in your coaching, there's 3 paramount areas. You do talk about, communication, but you also talk about how to close, which is sales. And at the end of that, or maybe not the end of it, maybe it's the beginning, is branding. So can you share with people how you package this type of information, what they can expect in each segment, and how you communicate with the people that you work with these days?
Sure will. So the very first thing whether I'm in conversation or consultation. One must be an information getter before one can become an information giver. So in consultation, it begins with discovery questions. Now, we all know people who talk, yet what I coach my clients is you must do discovery first. Because, and you guys know me, I could talk for 8 hours straight, not repeat myself.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you
I've
have.
published it.
Well, the point is, at the end of 8 hours, if whatever I said had no value to my listener, then it was just wah, 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 right? So it starts off with understanding the listener, because this is important. Most salespeople say, I want you to understand what I do. I'm going to tell you right now, the client doesn't care about what you do. The client wants you to understand them.
Damn.
I want you to understand my problems, my pain points, my challenges, my emotions. Oh, did I say emotion? Yeah. Write this one down, tattoo it on your forehead. Selling is the transfer of emotion. Selling is the transfer of emotion. Who's happier, the blonde or the brunette? Both. Who's happier, the Ferrari owner or the Lamborghini? Both. If they get what they believe, want, has nothing to do with the word need, right? Throw need out the window. It's all about want. If I get what I want, it makes me happy. Why? Happy is an emotion. Well, what does happy replace? Unhappiness. So therefore selling, and I'm even taking the word selling out, because how many hairdressers have you ever heard say, I don't like the sell?
Right.
I had a young lady one time, and we talked about her retail. She said, I don't like to sell. And I looked at her in the face and said, well, do you like to eat? Pretty simple. Because if you're not selling, you're not eating. She said, but I'm not a salesperson. And I looked at her and I said, let me explain something. The day you were born, the moment you were born, and the doctor slapped you on the butt and you cried for attention, you were selling. Somebody look at me. So let's go back. Communication is crucial. Let's talk about branding. Man, the riches are in the niches. And I do an entire program on how do you create a brand in demand. And I go back to what I said earlier. The client already has an expectation of performance. So let's put it this way. A prospective client wakes up tomorrow morning and has already made the decision, I want to go get highlights done. I want to go get my hair done. My hair is thinning out. I need to go to a place that could support me in hair restoration. So here's my question to whoever's watching the podcast. Will they think of you first? Will they think of you second? Or tragically, will they not think of you at all? Now, if the three of us Google anything, Google gives us three choices. Right below that, it says more options. Because selling is a transfer of emotion. We create a perception. A brand is technically invisible. You can't see it. But what is a brand? A brand is that which distinguishes you in the mind of your target market client from your competition. So when that man or woman wakes up tomorrow morning and says, I want to go buy this, and you own the position of expert in that category, they think of you first. And this is important. Your job and your brand are not the same thing. We talk about developing skills. You know, one of the things I tell people is I have a lot of experience. And they say, well, yeah, that's great. I said, well, do you know what the definition of experience is? They go, well, what? Well, experience is what you get when you didn't get what you wanted. I personally have a lot of experience. And so here's the point of the story. When I started doing hair, I would go to a network event, didn't know better. Somebody said, hey, who are you? What do you do? I said, hey, my name's Glenn. I'm a hairdresser. Well, I'm going to tell you, I was wrong on both points. Now I know you know me. You go, well, wait, your name is Glenn. But here's what I coach. The subconscious mind of another person doesn't care what my name is. They really don't. It is a fact in research. People listen for what's good for them. So what I coach my clients is never give your name first. Never. Now, I also said I'm a hairdresser. Well, challenge here, 60 million other hairdressers on the planet. I'm just one who does what everybody else does. The minute you niche your brand, you separate yourself from the competition. So as I understood and learned and used branding, when someone would walk up to me and say, who are you? What do you do? I said, woman's thinning hair expert, Glenn Michael. Woman's, I have defined my market, thinning hair, their challenge, and I'm the guy. Now, Did I put a hair system on better than anybody else? No. As good as. Did I cut it better? Nope. As good as. But what I could do is I could communicate the product to the client better than anyone else. So when we talk about this, I don't sell, I solve. And anyone on the podcast today, if you want to transform your income, I'm going to share with you today the $1 billion question. If you want to write it down, fine. But here's what I say do not do. When that client walks in the salon, do not ask the client, so what are we doing with your hair today? Or the other one I really love is, so how do you want me to fix your hair? Right? Now I want you to think of this. Would you go to a doctor who said, hey, Glenn, how would you like me to fix your broken leg? No. So here's the $1 billion question. First of all, understand the client's already on the appointment book for something. We'll just say a haircut. So the client sits in a chair, and I would say, we're going to call her Miss Mary. Miss Mary, I know that you're on the appointment book today for a haircut. Transitional word. However, if you could change anything about your hair, the texture, the density, the length, the thickness, do you find the ends are a little dry? You know, living here in New Orleans, do you find your hair gets frizzy in the summertime? Oh my God, I don't care how I do my hair. The minute I walk outside, it gets frizzy. Let me write that down. What else? You know, I don't dislike my color, but I'm kind of bored. It doesn't have a lot of shine. Let me write that down. What else? You know, my ends are always dry and brittle in the wintertime with the heaters on. Let me write that down. What else? Oh, that's it. So if you're telling me correctly, it's frizzy hair? Yeah. Color? Yeah. Improve the integrity of the ends? Yeah. So what if I could offer you a service today where I can make your hair 100% humidity resistant up to 6 months, and there's not a harsh chemical involved? Is that something you'd be interested in? Can you do it today? What do you think? So I could do the same thing in a retail product because, again, hairdressers don't want to sell. But hairdressers are the most giving people on the planet. And when you look up the definition of to sell in a dictionary, it actually says to give information so the other person makes a wise decision. So if I wanted to sell more retail, I would simply ask the client in consultation, long before they get shampooed, I'd ask this question. So Miss Mary, pause, you got to pause. So Miss Mary, if you could change anything about the shampoo and conditioner you're using at home right now, what is it not doing for you? What would you change? Well, you know, I really don't like the smell. Let me write that down. And you know what? My hair always feels coated. Let me write that down.
Excuse me.
I got 42,000 bottles of shampoo and conditioner on the shelf over here. Let's go find you something that smells great and will not wear your hair down. Well, where was the selling? There is no selling. Solving. So I said earlier, selling is a transfer of emotion. Scratch selling. Solving is the transfer of emotion. And when you get that, you get to take long romantic walks to the bank every freaking week. Hopefully that helps.
That is so freaking true.
Thank you.
I have a daughter that works in a salon, and you talked about making the client feel special or,
Sure.
wowing the client.
Excuse me.
And that's what she does. She does those little things like wash your glasses and
Sure.
give her a great shampoo, walk her out. If it's an elderly person, she walks her out to the car. So she's constantly creating an experience. And when she talks to them, she talks about them, not what she's doing, not what she's done, but she talks about them. So it's constantly, and that's what we all try to teach our employees is you try to make that client feel welcome into the salon.
It goes back, Lulu, to what I said earlier. You have to start off with a question.
Correct.
Right? And let's pretend. If I said to the two of you, would you like to go on vacation? Say yes.
Yes.
All right, what's the second question? So when I ask a question and a client says what they want, I know where they want to go. This is important. I begin my conversation with the happily ever after, not the once upon a time. When I know
Correct.
where you want to go, I'm already there. It's not a race to the finish line. The minute you answer the question, I'm already at the finish line. I'm just going to bring you to me. And two stories come to mind real quickly. Oftentimes, I always talk about my family because it's easy to tell stories about people we know and experiences. And so I tell people that it's about building relationships with the client. And we have to understand that relationships are built on two words: confidence and trust. Confidence first, trust second. So I use this story. My wife and I have been married. Actually, this year we'll be married 50 years. And most people go, oh my God, that's amazing. How do you stay married 50 years? So, well, my wife likes pain and I do my best to give it to her. So it's pretty simple. But here's reality. 52 years ago on the first date, because she was hot. Well, she's still hot, but now it comes in flashes. No, she's a beautiful woman and she's amazing because she puts up with me. But here's the point. 52 years ago on the first date, I wanted to impress her. So when she got in the car, I opened the door. I did that on the first date, the second date, the third date, the fourth. Over 4 or 5 dates, she became confident. This guy's a little different. He's going to open the door. We move forward 52 years to today, and she trusts he's going to open the door. Because if it's raining and I get in the car first and the blonde is standing out in the rain, her brain will immediately say, he doesn't love me anymore. So when you think of your daughter, what she's doing is she's establishing the bottom line. I don't go below the line. I can go above the line, create a new floor, but I can't go below the line. So we're always looking at where can we up the situation for the client. And one of the things I coach my own clients is it's not about giving things away for free. First of all, you never give anything for free because the subconscious brain hears the word free and says it has no value. But I will bonus you. See, bonus has a value, but free has no value. The second story I'll tell you about being an intentional listener, which is what I know your daughter's got to be amazing at. I was asked to speak for the third time for a national organization called SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives. And I'm very honored. Not only am I the only guy they've ever brought back twice, I'm the only person they've ever brought back 3 times to speak to their mentors. And so I asked the guy who brought me in. I was speaking to 30 of their top mentors. I said, does everybody drink coffee? He said, yeah. Now, I live in Charlotte now. I said, would you send out a 3-question questionnaire? I have a question in there, but I don't want them to answer one question. I want them to answer 3. I don't want them to know what I'm doing. I said, what's your favorite restaurant? What's your favorite coffee shop? What's your favorite place to go on vacation? All I want to know is coffee shop. Everything, I'll throw it away. Everything else. So he said, well, John likes to go here, and Mary likes to go there, and Dave likes to go here. So I took a day off. I went to every coffee shop they liked. And I bought like a $10 gift card, one for each of the members. And then when I did the presentation, they got their notepad with a pen and a gift card to their favorite coffee shop. Not my favorite coffee shop. It's not important. Their favorite coffee shop. And they all said, how did you know? I asked. So you have to get your ask in gear, people.
Wow. So, Glenn, you have a new book coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called Pretty Rich. Can you give our audience a little tidbit about your book?
Sure. Well, obviously, you could tell by the name, Pretty Rich. This is really for people in the beauty industry. Whether you're a nail tech, whether you're an esthetician, whether you're a supplier, whether you're a manufacturer, this is all about, it's not about making money. It's about enjoying more life. Oftentimes people say to me, Glenn, you're all about the money. It's like, I'm not all about the money. What I am all about is the money. But not for the money. It's because money gives you options, right? Money gives you the option. Do I send my child to a community college or do I send them to an Ivy League school? Do I drive an old clunker or do I drive a car that I won't get killed in? And it's really about having choices. So let's talk about the book. So when the book comes out, and it should be somewhere around May, if someone were a hairdresser, and I'm not going to teach you how to cut hair. I'm not going to teach you how to color. I won't teach you how to put on a hair system, anything like that. This is not the beauty business. This is the business of beauty. This is how you make your money without stressing out. And I'm going to tell you the reason I wrote this book, because I'm sick and tired of hearing hairdressers make 5-figure incomes. I want every hairdresser to make a minimum 6-figure income, and it can be done. Now you got to put in the sweat equity, people. It's not going to happen overnight. You go to bed at night. If you think the genie from Aladdin and Santa Claus and your fairy godmother are going to show up, they ain't coming. So let me just be real. They ain't coming. Right? So in this book, we're going to first start off with chapter 1, the psychology of the sale. I want you to know what goes on in the head of your client before they walk in the door. You're going to be prepped. It's like looking at video of the team that you're going to play next week. You already know how they play the game. The second thing we're going to go through is what holds you back. What is it in your belief system that's holding you back from the life you deserve and desire? I'm going to make you laugh. The technical abbreviation for belief system is BS, right? The only thing holds you back from what you want is the same BS story you tell yourself every day why you can't get it done. Trust me, you can get it done. I'm going to show you how to break through. In that section as well, we're going to do a whole thing on time management. I'm going to show you how to triple your income in 1/3 the time if you just follow the steps. Then we're going to get into the 3 key elements of communication: verbiage, tone of voice, and visual messaging. I'll give it to you quick. Verbiage is 7% of successful communication. Then you go, well, that's not much. Oh, yeah, but it's a big fat 7% because every word you say creates an image in the mind of your listener. And if you're not speaking the language they understand, they have the wrong picture. So when I tell a story, a little movie camera starts rolling in people's mind. Well, I want to make sure that they're seeing what I want them to see. Then tone of voice. Yeah, it's a research fact. Deeper voices close more sales. Male and female. Because always I'm talking to hairdressers and they go, yeah, but Glenn, you're a guy, you got a deep voice. Like, wait a minute, my mother had 2 voices. She had to call me in the dinner voice. Hey, Glenn, dinner time. Till I knocked over everything on the table. And then I heard the voice of Darth Vader. Glenn Michael, those, right? So you girls have deeper voices. You just don't use them. And then the biggest element in communication is visual messaging, or what people call body language. I don't like body language. I call it visual messaging, right? When I walk into a room and it's a networking event, for about the first 30 seconds, I don't speak to anyone. I just study the body language. I see some guy laying back like this, laying against the wall, and doesn't look, got his hands in his pocket, his shoulders up here. That's the first guy I want to go talk to. You know why? He's insecure. I'll walk up to him and say, is this your first time here? Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, me too. Let's go meet some people. Then I'll ask him a question. So tell me, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm in sales. I'm thinking, if you can't open a conversation, brother, I already know you can't close the sale. You're in trouble, man. But here's the best part. I can show you how to do that. And that's how it works, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
It's great. So your book is coming out in May. And if people, not just hairdressers, but obviously your skill set applies to a lot of different professions, where can people find out about your program, Glenn?
It's really simple. I'm a really easy guy to get in touch with. First of all, you can go to the website, which is Beauty Business Communication Expert. You can certainly reach out to me by an email. My email is Glenn, Glenn, at biz, B-I-Z, COX is an X-ray, PERT.com. That's GLENN at BIZCOMX, PERT.com. Or you can send me a text, 504-250-3969. Yeah, my own phone.
So Glenn, here at Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs, we started this because we also wanted to put the spotlight on the people, not just on what the people do.
Thanks.
And we came up with this little thing that we did, kind of lightning round, where we asked a question, we asked the person to just sort of answer with the first thing that came into their head. And we did a little survey, and we found out that our listeners love the lightning round. So we hope that you would quickly play the lightning round.
Let me get warmed up here. Let me get ready. Get ready for that. Let me get in shape, coach.
So here we go, Glenn.
Go for it.
Name your 3 favorite books.
Easy. My first favorite book, which was a life-changing book for me, is The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Guaranteed. I didn't read it until I had been in business 10 years, and I swear the man stood behind me and wrote down everything I did wrong. The best part, part was he also told me how to get it right. So definitely The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. In fact, my clients have to read that book to work with me.
Yeah.
The second one is called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. The reason being, it is all about creating new habit. The biggest challenge for most of us is we have bad habit. And it's not all your fault. I'm not blaming you. Understand you got programmed at birth, and some of that programming was contaminated. Right? And there's a little hacker that lives in your head, and he's still there. So it's really about creating new habit, right? If you want to lose weight, it's a habit. If you want to make more money, it's a habit. So definitely that book. A self-improvement book and an enlightening book, which was shared with me, again, from New Orleans, right after Hurricane Katrina. It's called The 4 Agreements. It's a really good book, and you can read the whole book in 15 minutes. It's not crazy. But he talks about in the book, the 4 agreements are: you must be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make any assumptions, and do your best at everything you do. Well, I read the book several times, and then one day, God slapped me in the back of the head, and he said, it's not about others. You have to start with yourself. See, I have to be impeccable to me. I can't take me personal. I can't make assumptions about me, and I have to do the best I can do, right? Yeah, and I'm going to give you a fourth book. It's been around for a while, and I'm reading it, and it's like, oh my God, this is great. It's going to be in my library. The 12-week year. The 12-week year. Yeah, it's a great book, and basically, if you think of it like this, there's 4 cycles of 12 weeks in a year. Now, this is important to me because I've already done the math, right? Because I'm 75 years old. And if I could get 4 years in 1 year and my life expectancy might be 95, I got 60 years in front of me. I'm looking good, man. But anyway, what he does is he's and it's genius. He's going to tell you, okay, how would you do this in a year? Now, what if you only had 12 months? And you this is key. You learn how to prioritize. You have to be able to prioritize. And you have to avoid the distractions. And you don't buy into the drama. I'm actually speaking in Cancun in a few weeks. I'm going to be there for a week. I've got 4 different presentations. And one of these is on don't buy into drama. Don't buy into drama. And I know it sounds stupid. Don't watch the news. Don't watch TV. The only purpose for television, and think of the name, tell-a-vision, is they're telling you what vision you should have. And it's also called programming. Hello. Figure that out, right? And the only thing television tells you is that you're not good enough unless you buy our product. That's pretty scary. So those are 4 books that I highly recommend. You don't have to be a genius to read them. And I suggest you read them at least 3 times a piece because the deeper you dive, the better they get.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Good books. I've read several of them, and you're right, spot on the money. The next one, Glenn, could you share with our audience some of your real life heroes, 1 or 2 or 3?
You know, I don't want to... Look, there's so many people I can think of, and the crazy thing for me is I'm such a one-man band, right? I've never been in the military. A friend of mine said, have you ever been in the military? I said, no, but if I was in the military, I'd be a sniper, right?
Yep.
I don't want to go off with everybody. Just give me your point. Let me go do my thing. Actually, I'll tell you who was a great inspiration for me, and you know him, Nikki Youth.
Yeah, I love Nikki.
Right? Because Nikki is the most down-to-earth, grounded individual. I mean, he's so freaking talented with hair, and he thinks on a whole different level. I remember years ago when he came up with the aluminum brazing rods for the perm rods and all. Right? And he's so, just a guy on the street.
He's Nikki.
He's Nikki, right?
All the time, every day.
And it's funny, when I met Nikki and we became friends, then our family started going skiing together. And one day I said, how you doing, Dad? And so now he's like, I always call him Dad. Now he calls me son. And it's pretty cool, right? So we have that great relationship. Another person who I think is amazing is a guy named Nito Quabain. Nito Quabain moved here from Albania, couldn't speak the language, and eventually became the president of the National Speakers Association. Presently, he is the president of High Point University, and his story is amazing. I can find heroes on the street. Just, you have to go out and look at people doing what they do. I mean, there's so many people who, there may not be the millionaires and the billionaires and the brain surgeons. It's not what we do. It's who we are. And a lot of people that I truly love and respect, they're not they're not taking those romantic walks to the bank yet.
Right.
I'm gonna get them there, but not yet.
Yeah. I would like you to share something that is passionate in your life, something that you do a hobby, an interest that maybe the audience might not suspect about Glenn Michael Millett?
When Glenn is not speaking or coaching, Glenn likes cars.
I knew it. I knew
Yeah.
possibly fast cars.
And people ask me all the time, we're doing this, why don't you come? We're doing this, why don't you come? It's like, I don't know. A good day for me, and it's going to sound crazy because it's not what everybody wants to do. I can get up on a Sunday morning. I can get under a car, detail the whole thing. I got my music playing coming out of the garage. I don't have to see anybody. At the end of the day, I look back and go, looks good. It's a good day, right? Right? No drama. Just, is what it is. I get to talk to myself and get all the answers I want.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. This is a good one, Glenn. What's your favorite place to shop?
Easy. And it's going to have a hairdressing story right here. All right. So I'll give you the story and then I'll tell you what it is. So a good friend of ours, Luis Alvarez, had invited me to participate in a program he did in Las Vegas with Aquage. And I was there, and it was held at the Hard Rock Casino, the old Hard Rock Casino. Mm-hmm. So we had the morning session and we took a break for lunch. Well, the restaurants are all down on the bottom floor. And so I finished lunch a little early, and I noticed across from the restaurant, there was a men's boutique. I saw the name. It said John Vervatos. I didn't think anything about it. I walked in. $4,000 later. Right? I've never been a guy that said, I only wear this, I only wear that. I think I buy what I like and I wear it. And it's like now my closet looks like a John Vervatos store. But here's the interesting thing, because I used to play music and John Vervatos, he's like an old rocker. So and rock stars and hairdressers are the same freaking people, right? They are, right? They dress funky, they think funky, they're artistic, they're eclectic. So I already had, my band, my rock star part of my brain. Now I'm in the hairdressing industry, and the minute I put his clothes on, it was like, my brain said, remember, selling is the transfer of emotion. Oh. My brain said, he was thinking of me when he designed this. Mm-hmm. And so he's my favorite designer.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
He rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a hairdresser, if you're a male hairdresser, go buy yourself some John Vervatos, get your ass on platform.
I know a good friend of ours, Johnny Plant. You cannot go to Las Vegas without going to that store.
And I will tell you, I got him hooked. I'm the guy who got him hooked on that. Right? His wife, Caroline, says, you're a bad influence, Glenn Millett.
You're a bad man, Glenn Michael Millett.
I've done my job.
Now, this is kind of a catch question because I know your wife's cooking. I know you're from New Orleans. I know and have traveled all over the world with you, full disclosure. What's your favorite meal, Glenn?
Well, first, I think we should tell everybody we had separate rooms. That's the first thing.
Of course we did. Of course we did.
Hey, we're friends, man. My favorite meal, again, so easy. Flash fried soft shell crab with a lump crab meat au gratin sauce on top, paired with a lump crab meat crab cake and a seafood butter reduction sauce. Oh, my freaking God.
That's it. That's the one.
And followed up by some coffee and beignets.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
And do you have to go to New Orleans to have that meal?
Oh, yeah. I say seafood in Charlotte, and they like, what? In fact, I'll share a funny story. When we first moved to Charlotte, I asked the guy, I said, look, we're from New Orleans. Could you recommend a good seafood restaurant? And he looked, he said, yeah, go about a mile down on the right, there's a Red Lobster. And was like, nope, we ain't going there. No offense to Red Lobster, but we're not going.
Yeah.
Right?
I know. And the artisans know this, but every time you do a presentation or talk, you find out the best restaurants to go to. Always.
Always.
Always. Because And one of the things that you talked about that you were a musician. Okay. Well, I'm here to tell the audience that you're a great singer.
What?
And also can play the piano very, very well.
Thank you.
So one time we were both in Hawaii, I think, Glenn gets by the piano. He starts playing. I don't know what he was. I don't know what you were playing. Something
I don't
Motown,
remember.
I guess.
Yeah,
Anyway, so
I'm
I
a soul
started
singer.
singing, and Glenn actually stopped the piano playing, and he looked at me. He says, "Lulu, will you stop singing?" And I thought I was singing really well. So, because it shows
Hold
you
on. I
there is a
apologize.
difference.
Hey, I'm so sorry, Lulu. That was when I was young and a bigger idiot than I am now.
I go, oh my God, I didn't know I sung that badly.
You're cute.
I have specific memories. I remember Glenn Michael Millett and Nikki Youth doing Blues Brothers.
Oh my God,
In
yeah.
Hawaii.
in some country. And
Yep.
I also remember in Canada at a major presentation, and somebody had said, Glenn speaks, and you talked to the band and you got up and sang Johnny Be Good, and you sang it as good as I've ever heard it
I
done.
did.
So
Thank you so
yes.
much. It's funny because people say I'm an extrovert, and I'm not. I'm really an introvert with extrovert tendencies, right? Because I'm totally happy by myself. But if somebody says, "Could you get up and sing?" It's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As long as they don't ask me to do things I'm not good at.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're a man of many options in life, Glenn, but I can say whatever you choose to do, you do,
You do
well.
well. Yes,
you're
yes.
you're both so kind, and I appreciate that. I'm anal. There ain't no two ways about it.
You know, after listening to you, I want to go back to the salon and just talk to the staff. Every time I listen to you, you have so much knowledge that you give us, and I know
Thank you.
you gave the audience. So Glenn, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being on Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. And we look forward to your new book coming out in May called Pretty Rich. So we ask the viewers to please subscribe to our podcast and also support Glenn Michael and what he does. And, all his emails, all his social media stuff. So please support him and
Thank you
support
both.
us.
I
Thank
love
you
you both.
so much,
It's,
Glenn.
Glad you did. You'll be glad.
It's always great to get back together with people that you know and respect for so many years. I talk about my buddy Nicky. I don't see Nicky that often. I don't talk to him that often, but you have certain people in your life, and I know you guys are this way. You don't see them for a year, and they call up and say, "Can you do this?" And you say, "I'll be right there."
Yeah.
And that's who we are. And it goes back to who we associated with 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it goes back.
Yep.
All right, kids. It's a pleasure.
Bye. Thank you so much, Glenn.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. See you next.
Wow, what an episode. That wraps up another exciting edition of Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you're leaving inspired and ready to chase your dreams. Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode over at youtube.com/artists, icons, entrepreneurs, as well as Facebook at Lulu Benavidez, on IG at Lulu Benavidez, at Evolve Hair Solutions as well. And don't forget to visit our website at lulubenavidez.com and evolvehairsolutions.com to stay updated. Until next time, keep dreaming big, creating boldly, and making your mark on the world. Thanks for listening, and take care, everyone.